I'm Jennifer Blackwell and this is my reflective vlog on the importance of being an innovative practitioner. The vlog will be using the reflective model of Rolf et al. 2001, the what, the so what and the now what. First we'll be asking the what questions. What is the problem? What is my role in the situation? What was I trying to achieve and what actions did I take? We'll then be looking at the so what questions. So what other knowledge can I bring to the situation? Can I use any of my subject specialism, my experiences in scientific experiences or my personal experiences? So what evidence and theories have I used to base my actions upon, and what impacts did that have? We'll then be looking at the now what questions, which are: what do I need to do in order to make things better and improve things for my learners, and what are the broader issues that need to be addressed? So when we think about innovation in education, what we tend to think of it is about the new digital technologies that we could bring into the classroom and how we can improve the experiences of a learner through the digital technologies. For example, the use of iPads, the use of laptops, the use of interactive whiteboards or virtual reality goggles, and how each one of them can be built into the lessons. However, innovation is not just about the new technology advances that we're seeing worldwide. It's about new strategies and new approaches that we can implement within our lessons to enhance learning and to give learners better progression within all academic subjects. The world is ever developing, but yet we still seem to teach in classes in the same way as what we did in the Industrial Revolution. We see learners sat at desks with teachers stood at the front of the classroom delivering information and teaching the students. We are seeing this throughout all education settings, from primary schools, secondary schools, colleges and universities. However, there's a great need to change. Outdated thinking of how a school is designed leads to poor performance. Learners' experiences could be redesigned to be far more relevant to the learners' interests and career pathways. They could personalise their experience to their aptitudes and their ability. We could personalise them to each learner's needs, be it a special educational need or disability, to their social, emotional, mental health needs, or we can be responsive to their culture or their own identities. Innovation in education encourages teachers to learn and learners to explore. Research and use tools to uncover something new. It involves a different way of looking at problems and solving them. The thinking process that goes into innovative lessons will help learners develop their creativity and their problem-solving skills. Innovation does not mean creating something from nothing. It relies on researching existing theories to come up with new hypotheses to teach and to test within the classroom. Innovation improves education because it compels learners to use Bloom's higher order thinking skills to solve problems. So this is my current classroom. I am currently a teacher in a social, emotional and mental health school, and I teach with learners that have attachment difficulties, and I run the attachment centre in the school. Each of the learners who are in my class have their own educational healthcare plan because of their social, emotional, mental health needs, their special educational needs and their attachment disorders. These learners have come from mainstream settings and have gained a place in an alternative provision to meet their needs. The mainstream settings that they've generally come from has seen the learners being taught in a classroom such as the ones from the Industrial Revolution, or being taught in a behaviourist way. This approach to teaching these learners has not worked. They've been hard to reach and hard to engage learners. Each of the learners can become highly dysregulated with their emotions, which can show displays of unwanted behaviour. Therefore, we need to have different approaches to teach these learners. I strive to offer a humanistic approach to teaching and a child-centred approach or learner-centred approach. I also offer a constructive approach to teaching and offer project-based learning. This is so that each of the learners can have each of their needs met and learn in a way that is best for them to progress. And it's also trying to stop them becoming highly dysregulated. As mentioned, each of the learners have attachment difficulties. Therefore, we can see the learners progress of what Bruce Perry terms the arousal continuum. This means that the learners will escalate their emotions and go into a state of fear or terror. When they become into a state of fear or terror, this is what we generally know as being called the fight or flight. So we'll see learners wanting to exit the classroom or maybe become aggressive or want to fight because their emotions are at that heightened stage. It's my role as a teacher to make sure that their emotions are regulated enough into a calm state so they can engage in what is being taught. To do this effectively, I need to teach in a way that the learners best learn. I also have strategies and resources in place, such as the Calm Box. The Calm Box is a box that's filled with sensory equipment and toys for the learners to be able to fiddle with. If the learners are fiddling with the toys, they'll be able to concentrate on their breathing, which in effect will lower their cardiovascular rate, their heart rate. The breathing and the heart rate are linked via the vagal nerve, which sends signals from the brain to calm. In working in this way and offering this resource, we are seeing learners progress and being able, with their ability, their social and emotional abilities, by them able to engage within their work without becoming highly dysregulated. Not only am I offering Calm Boxes, I'm offering a new approach to teaching for what the learners have seen before. I'm offering project-based learning. I'm offering a humanistic approach. This project-based learning is very much learner-centred around tasks that they have to work together to achieve. It's around experiential learning. It is not sitting at a desk and writing or reading all day long or being listening to the teacher or being taught at. It's about getting involved. It's hands-on experiential learning. Having project-based and experiential learning topics enables problem-solving skills. This enables me to teach more than one topic at one time. It means that I can do strong cross-curricular links and work to each learner's strengths. Problem-based learning enables me to enhance critical thinking skills. It's creative thinking. It enables the learners to work as a team. It's student-centred. It's working to each of the strengths of each learners. It's more natural. It's teaching in a way of what we would generally see in a community of practice within a working environment. It's very much tailored to the strengths of the individual. In working in a way that is project-based and getting learners to work together and collaborate with each other on an end goal, on different elements of each of the project to build up one main goal, we are seeing the learners work together and then hitting the higher end of Bloom's taxonomy. When they're generally in the classroom and they're doing the reading and writing, because they become so dysregulated, we generally see them only being able to hit the bottom two layers of Bloom's taxonomy, which is comprehension and knowledge. As they are unable to engage in the lessons, we generally don't see them hitting the top end of Bloom's taxonomy. However, in a project-based approach, experiential learning approach, we see the learners being able to create and synthesise. We see them evaluating the work that they've achieved or the progress that they've made. We see them analysing, we see application of knowledge, and we see them being able to comprehend what they've already learned and the new skills that they've gained. So working in this way is seeing a higher progression and deeper learning taking place. So experiential learning involves finding better ways to do something and new ways to do something and looking at different problems. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the recycling project that we have just undertaken within my class. The learners were set the target of having to build a sustainable structure out of recycled materials. Learners did not just simply build a structure, they had to identify a problem with waste management within the local area. Through that, they then had to write a letter to the head teacher of the school and discuss how they could improve their school environment. From that, they then developed and wrote their own assembly, which they delivered to the whole school and created their own presentations to do that. After doing that, the next step was they contacted local manufacturing companies and via email, and they asked if they had any donations that they could make of recycled materials so that they could make a recyclable structure. The learners decided to make a recycle greenhouse and also a weather station. The weather station meant that the learners could record data about temperature, rainfall, about the pollution in the air, and the greenhouse itself meant that it was able to add to the environment by growing plants, which meant that they could look at biology and look at plant cells and look at photosynthesis. That is cross-curricular linking in itself. However, also, not only was that cross-curricular linking, they had to build a structure, so they had to use DT skills and also math skills for measurement, volume, perimeter, the area. They used their ICT skills within constructing emails. They used their English skills by doing persuasive writing as they was emailing the manufacturing companies and writing letters to the head teacher of the school. They had to present the information that they were delivering to the school, which was also again meeting the national curriculum for English and the GCSE specification for language. Learners were also contacting careers, which was then opening up to the Gatsby benchmark and meeting the framework for that, the Gatsby benchmark, which meant that there was building up career pathways and looking at different areas of career that they may go into when they leave school. Cross-curricular linking in this way and teaching more than one subject at one time creates higher order thinking skills and deep learning. Working this way also means that I can meet the professional standards for and for team, be creative and innovative in selecting and adapting strategies to help learners to learn, and plan and deliver effective learning programmes to diverse groups of individuals in safe and inclusive environments. Teaching in this way allows me to offer a humanistic approach and a social constructive approach. As there is lots of different elements to this project, learners are intrinsically motivated to pick the subject that they are best at. In doing this, I am promoting learning. Not only that, I am asking the learners to all have a go and try each individual task. In trying each individual task, I am able to get the learners to strive to meet the national curriculum targets and their GCSE specification targets. In working in a team and working towards the learners' strengths, and the learners are targeted at working on the areas that they're best intrinsically motivated to do, such as the marketing element or the DT side of it. They're working as a team and they're working for their own strengths and in a socially constructive way. Here are some photos of the project that they created. Working in an attachment-informed way and a humanistic approach and offering experiential learning poses further research areas. Will it close the gap between learners that see barriers to highly academic focused classrooms, such as learners that suffer with dyslexia, or learners that struggle with their attachment difficulties or social, emotional, mental health struggles? For example, either learners with dyslexia that are constantly having to write and read all day sat at a desk, or the learners that are unable to sit at a desk because they are functioning at a state of fear or terror. Due to these struggles, is working in an attachment informed way, a humanistic approach, is offering this experiential learning going to close the gap between our academic differences? So what are the difficulties? There are a number of difficulties with the approach. Firstly, it's how can this way of teaching be tested using standardised testing. We have to try and adapt the way of teaching and the way of delivering experiential learning so they can meet GCSE specifications on national curriculum standards. Secondly, this way of teaching is not always accepted by other teachers within the school, especially teachers that are very experienced in what they do and have been teaching via old approaches. my role now is to educate and train professionals to this new approach via using my Innovative Sway resource that I have uploaded onto this blog.